The initiative to decriminalize psychedelic mushrooms is written in the way that the original initiative to decriminalize marijuana in Seattle was written. It states that the use and possession of psilocybin mushrooms will be the Denver police's lowest possible priority, and it will prohibit the city from spending resources to pursue criminal penalties against them. So, people tripping on mushrooms in Denver will be the city's, the police's lowest possible priority. I recently told my friends that something was about to happen, and many of them didn't believe me. I would like to quote Donald Trump when I say, I was right. I called it. What I told my friends was that I thought that psychedelic drugs were about to be legalized and that they were going to do it the same way they did with marijuana, by first either decriminalizing them or legalizing them for medical use, and then later on they were going to fully legalize them and probably heavily tax them like they're doing with marijuana. Yesterday morning, I saw two news articles that made me very happy. Both Dallas, Texas, and Alabama have decided to decriminalize small amounts of marijuana. See that? Dallas will no longer prosecute small-time marijuana offenders, and Alabama lawmakers voted unanimously to decriminalize small amounts of marijuana as well. I was going to record a video talking about that, but this morning I saw another news article, and that is what I'm going to talk about today. Because of the news article I saw this morning, I am yet again talking about shrooms on camera. Here's the article I saw. Denver may become the first U.S. city to decriminalize psychedelic mushrooms. They're not actually going to decriminalize them. I'll tell you more details about why that is in a minute. But before I tell you those details, I would like to show you that Las Vegas is also considering doing it. Now, if you've seen my older YouTube videos, you may already know how I feel about legalizing psychedelics.
Legalize LSD in the USA!
Yeah, I did do that. Now that I've shown you that, I'm going to talk about the proposed law to decriminalize psychedelic mushrooms in Denver and why they're not actually going to be decriminalizing them, but why what they're going to do is actually kind of funny. The initiative to decriminalize psychedelic mushrooms is written in the way that the original initiative to decriminalize marijuana in Seattle was written. It states that the use and possession of psilocybin mushrooms will be the Denver police's lowest possible priority, and it will prohibit the city from spending resources to pursue criminal penalties against them. So, people tripping on mushrooms in Denver will be the city's, the police's lowest possible priority. So if this law passes, I guess that I could go to Denver and go into the middle of downtown Denver and put a blanket down on the sidewalk and then eat an ounce of shrooms and then roll around on the blanket, tripping balls, laughing my ass off, just like, and the cops would just walk by and say, "Oh, look at that. Someone's tripping balls on the street. You are our lowest possible priority. Have fun. Have a nice day." And then they'd kick some dust up on me as they walked by and spit a little bit over their shoulder on the sidewalk and say, "That insignificant, low priority girl rolling on the ground tripping balls. I'm gonna go give that person over there a parking ticket." But now seriously, at least as seriously as I can be, when imagining laying on the sidewalk tripping balls and the police walking by and not caring, I am going to tell you why I also got very, very enraged when I read that article. Because I shouldn't be enraged, right? The war on drugs is a horrible thing, and any news saying that it's in any way, shape, or form ending should make me happy. So why was I happy, but like deep down inside enraged? Well, before I tell you why I was enraged, I'm going to tell you what I did today. Today, I called a bunch of different companies and a bunch of different people that have ripped me off or messed up my life in one way or another over the course of not only the last year, but because of one person that I called that messed up my life like 18 years ago. I guess it's in the course of the last 18 years. And the situation with how these people have done me harm, ripped me off, or messed up my life is different for each person or company I called, but there is like one common factor, and I call that common factor screwed over with no recourse. Every single one of these situations is one where I have been harmed by somebody else, and I am left harmed, and I have no recourse. For example, the dentist that burned my lip 18 years ago, leaving a permanent scar on my lip that hurts all the time, that makes me slur my speech, that makes people think that I'm on herpes or that I'm smoking meth or something, never even told me exactly what happened when he did that to me. I was unconscious during the surgery. I woke up with my lip severely burned. And why I didn't get the proper medical treatment or a lot of money out of the lawsuit that I tried to file over that is like a long story that I'm not going to tell right now. But I am going to tell you that today I looked up that dentist, I called him on the phone, and I left a message with his secretary, a very long message, asking for an explanation about how he burned my face 18 years ago, and asking if he wants to do anything to make it right or be interviewed for a YouTube video that I'm making about the topic. Then I proceeded to call the dentist that postponed my dental care numerous times over the course of the last year, did some fillings that made my teeth feel funny, and then sent me a letter saying he can no longer be my dentist, knowing full well that it is basically impossible to find a dentist in my area. Then I called Airbnb and tried to get my money back from them. They sent me a message saying they're basically not going to give me any refund at all, ever, for anything. I did solve two problems. I did find out that the data is on the hard drive that Seagate sent back to me. I was able to access it from a public computer. Here's a video of that. Look at that, people. There is all of my data. I can't access it from any of my computers, but it is all there, all recovered, and all on the hard drive that Seagate sent me. And there are the videos of Evelyn being born. I can just not access the data from any of my own computers because it can't be accessed from a Mac or from a computer with the version of Windows that my computer has. I then went to Wildberries, where I complained about something that made the food unsafe for people with gluten allergies, and they actually did something about it for like the first time ever, as I'm always complaining about allergy safety issues at local grocery stores and restaurants, and most of the time they either don't do anything or they actually get angry and they're rude to me. So here's a video of that. I just noticed something at Walgreens. The eggplant was breaded with breadcrumbs containing wheat. I pointed it out to an employee who surprisingly ran away with the tray. And look, he added the word breaded to the sign. And there were several other problems that I tried to solve today that I did solve, and several others that I didn't solve. But without going into any further detail about the problems that I did and did not solve today, legalizing any kind of drug without compensating the people who have been harmed by the war on drugs will leave those people just screwed over with no recourse. Sure, they won't be being harmed anymore, but they will be left in a state of having been harmed and having no way to be made right. Like, say for example, that you were 50 years old and had a condition causing you to have such severe arthritis in your fingers that you couldn't even bend your hands. And once a year you had to drive from California to Florida to visit your family, and because of an incident where the police harassed you or possibly even physically assaulted you because of marijuana in Texas, every year when you went to visit your relatives, you drove hundreds of miles out of your way around the state of Texas because you were like absolutely terrified to drive through Texas again. Or what if you were driving through Texas and you had your laundry, your dirty laundry in a backpack, and just enough laundry soap to wash your laundry in a Ziploc bag in the backpack. And because you had Grateful Dead stickers on your car, the police pulled you over and they found that bag of laundry soap and they thought it was cocaine. But instead of wanting to arrest you for it, they wanted to snort it. So these cops, they were going to steal your cocaine and they were going to snort it, but they didn't just want to steal it from you. They wanted to like rub it in that because they were cops, they could steal it from you and they could do it and they could not get in trouble, but you could. So they took out their straws and they went to snort it right in front of you. And instead of being cocaine, it was laundry soap. And instead of apologizing to you, they got angry and they like trashed up your car and shredded your seats with knives and stuff. Okay, those two stories are true stories. Those happened to two people that I know personally. And one of those people died a few years ago. He died without any kind of compensation for having to suffer through that incident. The other person is still alive, but I guarantee you he's still afraid to drive through Texas. So when Texas legalizes marijuana and they start to sell it and they start to tax it up the wazoo, like Colorado is doing and California is doing, they should set aside some of that money. And they should use that money to compensate people who have been harmed by the war on drugs. When Denver legalizes psychedelic mushrooms, well, maybe they could find somebody whose face was bashed into the ground 20 times or 30 times in a row because they had mushrooms. And they could pay that person some money for the suffering they went through. Because our government has known that the war on drugs is unconstitutional, immoral, and basically pointless. That it does more harm than good, and that its only purpose is to make the government money, and also a little bit to oppress people. But most would make the government money. And they should have ended it a long time ago. In fact, they never should have started it. When they made alcohol illegal, they had to change the Constitution. And when they made it legal again, they had to change the Constitution again. Did they change the Constitution when they made marijuana, or mushrooms, or LSD, or heroin, or cocaine, or any other drug illegal? No, they did not. And that makes the entire war on drugs unconstitutional. I personally think that all drugs should be legal, whether they're the good ones or the bad ones. Because you know what I believe also? I believe that people should have a choice. They should be able to choose what they put into their bodies. They should be able to say, I don't want fluoride in my water because I want to drink water that doesn't have a drug added to it. They should be able to say if they want to put marijuana into their brain or meth into their brain. And you know what else? I think that if all drugs were legal, people would basically choose to do the safer ones. I think if you could go into a store and you could buy whatever drug you wanted and they had the marijuana over here and the LSD over here and the shrooms over here and the meth and the cocaine and the heroin and all the bad drugs over there, I think that most people would go over here, not over there. I would like to say that if Denver legalizes shrooms, that I will do exactly what I described in my video, like laying on the blanket on the street tripping balls and such. I'm not actually sure if I should do that, though, and it's not because I believe shrooms are bad or dangerous, it's because I have a personal, very strong reaction to them. The last time, you're gonna love this story, or maybe not, but the last time that I actually did shrooms was actually, ironically, in Denver, and it wasn't actually shrooms themselves, it was actually a shroom extract. But unlike the shroom extract I tried in my last YouTube video, this was an extract of the psychedelic kind of mushrooms. I was at a Fish concert in 2012 with my friend, who I'm not going to name, but if you're watching this, you know who you are. And he had some shrooms, and he said, I'm not going to take shrooms tonight. I don't feel like taking shrooms tonight. I said, well, if you're not going to take them, I'm not going to take them either. A guy walked up to us and he said, look at this little chunk right here. This is shroom extract. This little chunk is about 1/8 of shrooms. And just out of curiosity, I wanted to taste it. I didn't even want to taste enough to trip. I thought I could just taste a little bit of it and I would maybe barely be tripping, I guess. I don't know what I thought would happen, but I took my fingernail and scraped this little chunk, which kind of looked like a chunk of hash or something, and I scraped off like the tiniest little piece I could scrape off my fingernail, and I put it in my mouth to taste it, and then my friend and I started to walk into the concert, and I started to feel like I was tripping. So we got into the concert, and we didn't actually have seats, we had floor tickets, which is just this open area where everyone stands, and in the center of this open area where everyone stands, they have like a fenced off area where I think they control the sound and the lights. They have like guys and a bunch of like equipment in there. Anyway, I ended up laying on the floor, like on a heap of people's jackets that they had thrown up along that fence around the soundboard area or whatever it was. And I was like unable to lift my head. My head was like this, like hanging upside down on the ground. And I remember various people, both other people attending the concert and security guards, like holding my head up and holding my mouth open and trying to pour water in my mouth and stuff. I was so embarrassed. But luckily, I did not get dragged out of the concert and wake up in the hospital. No, something like that happened another time I saw Fish in Colorado. That time wasn't my fault, though. That time somebody actually drugged me. I'm not going to talk about that time right now. I'm talking about the last time I actually did any form of psychedelic mushrooms. Anyway, if a normal person would eat like a mushroom this big and they would feel like they were tripping like a little bit, and I break off the tiniest little piece of that mushroom, I will feel like I am tripping like 100 times more than that person. I am too sensitive to them. So if I was gonna go to Colorado and do shrooms to like celebrate them being legalized, I wouldn't be like eating an ounce of them on the street corner. It would be like a tiny little piece, probably like in my hotel room with somebody else who wasn't tripping, like watching me, to make sure I didn't like literally injure myself or something, because that like happened at that concert. where I tried the shroom extract. I actually, like, banged my legs into stuff and banged my face into stuff and, like, had bruises and stuff, and I didn't know where the bruises came from. It was really not a pleasant experience because I, for the most part, can't tell you what songs they played. I was basically tripping too hard to enjoy the concert, which is like almost impossible at a Fish concert, but it did happen. I was unfortunately that person, and I don't really want to be that person again. Anyway, now that I have shared my horribly embarrassing story that I thought I would never share on YouTube, I am going to end this video. Please tell me what you think of Denver's proposal, which may also be Las Vegas's proposal, to legalize shrooms in the comment section of this video. For the next few days, I'm going to be very busy filming the events that we're having in Humboldt County over the holiday weekend. I'm not talking about Easter weekend. In Humboldt County, different holidays are celebrated this weekend, in addition to Easter. And I will be filming events over the course of the next few days. Like, all day, every day, basically. So I will have really cool videos of those events in the future, but I'm not going to be, like, up all night editing videos after I'm, like, up all day recording them. I'm just going to be either not putting out a video for a few days or putting out some short videos. Anyway, you'll see videos of the next few days after the next few days are over. I am now going to end this video. Bye for now. And don't forget to like this video, share this video, watch my other videos, and subscribe to my channel.